How to encrypt file and directory on Linux. If you are a conscientious system administrator, you have probably already wondered how you can make your files secure. Nowadays, as system attacks get more and more frequent, it isn't probably a bad idea to think about encrypting your files. On Linux, there are multiple of encrypting files, directories, or file systems, namely using the LuxDisk encryption specification or simple tools such as GNU-PG. Encrypt files using passphrase protection. One of the easiest ways of encrypting a file on Linux is to use the GPG utility. GPG is a simple utility that is part of the OpenPGP initiative that aims at providing easy methods to securely sign documents. Files can be decrypted using two different methods, a password or a key file. In this section, we are going to focus on setting up a password protection for your encrypted files. To encrypt files using a password, use the GPG command with the C option specifying that you want to use a symmetric encryption for your file. After that, specify the name of the file that you want to encrypt. GPG-C. The GPG command will create a file with a .gpg extension, which is the encrypted file that you want to store. If you are running a Linux distribution with a graphical environment, you will be prompted with a window in order to specify the passphrase. Decrypt encrypted file on Linux. In order to decrypt an encrypted file on Linux, you have to use the GPG command with the D option for decrypt and specify the .gpg file that you want to decrypt. gpgd.gpg. Again, you will probably be prompted with a window, or directly in the terminal, for the passphrase. If you provide the correct one, you will be able to see the content of your file. Encrypt directory using GPG. In some cases, you may be interested in encrypting a whole directory, containing a lot of files. In order to achieve that, you are going to create an archive first and encrypt it later on. To create an archive, use the tar command along with the CVF options that stand for create a file in verbose mode. Now that your archive is created, you can encrypt it using the GPG command with the C option. tar cvf archive.tar gpgc archive.tar. Again, you might be prompted for a specific passphrase that you will have to remember. Congratulations, you successfully encrypted a directory using the tar and GPG commands. Encrypt directory using zip. In order to encrypt a file using zip, use the zip command with the encrypt option and provide the zip name as well as the files to be encrypted. $zip r encrypt secure.zip $zip encrypt secure.zip. Awesome, you have successfully created an encrypted zip archive. To open your encrypted archive, you can simply use the unzip command and provide the password you just used. Encrypt files using private key. As explained in other tutorials, generating key pairs, a public key and a private key, remain a very efficient way of preventing people from accessing your files. To encrypt files on Linux using a private key, you have to execute the GPG command with the full gen key option. You have multiple options for key generation, such as quick generate key, but the full one gives you more options. GPG full gen key. By default, the GPG utility will ask you a couple of questions. First, it wants you to choose an encryption method for your key. We are going to choose RSA as it can be trusted as one of the best encryption methods available. On the next step, you are asked for the size of the key that you want. We are going to remain with the defaults 1 and press enter. Finally, you are asked if you want to configure an expiration for the key that you are going to create. In this case, we want to use the same key forever, so you can choose the 0 option. Now that you specified the key parameters, you are going to provide your name, your email address as well as a comment that is describing your key. If everything is okay, you can press O and proceed to choose a passphrase. Now that you specified the key parameters, you are going to provide your name, your email address as well as a comment that is describing your key. If everything is okay, you can press O and proceed to choose a passphrase. Congratulations, you successfully created your set of keys for encryption. You can now use them in order to encrypt your files. To encrypt your file using your created key, you have to use the GPG command with the E option for encrypt and specify the key to be used with the recipient option. $GPGE recipient. In this case, we used the dev-connected name along with the devconnected@example.com email address. To encrypt the file, we are going to execute the following command. $GPGE recipient devconnected@example.com. Great. Encrypt files using Nautilus GUI. If you are not into using the terminal, you might want to have a beautiful GUI in order to encrypt your files. To encrypt using a graphical interface, you are going to use the Nautilus File Manager along with the Seahorse Nautilus extension. This extension brings GPG features right into your graphical file explorer. $sudo apt-get install Nautilus. $sudo apt-get install Seahorse Nautilus. When you are done, restart Nautilus by using the Nautilus command with the Q option for quit. $Nautilus Q. Open Nautilus again, using the command line or your left vertical bar, and right-click on a file to see the Encrypt option. When clicking on Encrypt, you are asked if you want to choose a passphrase or if you want to encrypt the file using a key. When clicking on Encrypt, you are asked if you want to choose a passphrase or if you want to encrypt the file using a key. But did you know that you could decrypt your file using a GUI interface also? Decrypt using GUI interface. In order to decrypt your file, you can simply double-click or right-click and select the Open with Decrypt file. But did you know that you could decrypt your file using a GUI interface also? Decrypt using GUI interface. In order to decrypt your file, you can simply double-click or right-click and select the Open with Decrypt file. When clicking on Save, you will be asked for the passphrase that you specified when creating your public key. Provide the specified passphrase and your file should be decrypted. Conclusion. In this tutorial, you learn how you can simply encrypt and decrypt a file on Linux using console line commands or GUI tools. Encryption is a big part of security. If you are storing sensitive information on your computer or server, you should seriously think about encryption for your disks.